right. Thanks everyone for joining here today. My name is Chris Bava. I'm Director of Sales and Marketing for the Lifestyles by Barron's team. Today we're going to be talking about feature walls and energy efficient fireplaces, hot trends. All right, pun intended too, for this one here. So this is our fourth webinar in our webinar series. We've been having a lot of fun with it. We've been getting great feedback on it. We rather enjoy doing it. So, it's hopefully something that we can continue going on. Thanks everyone for coming here today. Of course, to address the elephant in the room is COVID. So we honestly and sincerely hope that everyone and their families are doing well in this time, and just trying to stay sane inside in quarantine, right? And so we do appreciate you taking the time to be here today. So for today's webinar, it's gonna go until approximately about 1 p.m. or so, and during this time here, we're gonna be muting everyone so that there's no interference in the background, etc. By all means, there is a chat that I'll be popping up shortly once I pass it over to the President and VP here at Lifestyles. So feel free at any time, type in the chat, type in and say, hey, any questions or any comments at any time. If at that time, I'll take a look and I'll see if we can chime into the webinar right at that moment, or if it's something I feel that we can address at the end, I'll address it at that time. So I'll let you guys know as we go along. So with that all being said here, I want to address two things really quick. We've got a lot of feedback about our, everyone should see my screen here on the website. So we got a lot of feedback and some questions about our website and great tools to use. So I want to just take a quick opportunity to show you the website. If you go to our homepage, one of the best ways to get started on our homepage is just to scroll down and go to where you'll see award-winning Hoover Court guided tour and Hoover Court virtual tour. So what's really cool about here for anyone that's looking to get started, say let's click on the Matterport here. That's the software that's called Matterport. But what is cool is that it's a virtual 3D design software that you can really capture and move through at your own pace. So that's why it's called the virtual tour. So you can just as simply tour around. If you've ever used Google Street View, it's got the same sort of software, same setup, where you just kind of click and point and you kind of move through the property. So as you go along, you can feel free to look up, look down, zoom in, zoom out. What's really cool as well is you can just hover over one of these beacons and it'll end up showing you what the before picture used to look like. So you can see what the space transitioned to, which is really cool. So if that's not really for you and you're more of a, let's sit back with a glass of wine, no problem. Just go over to the guided tour. So what's really cool about this one here, I'm just gonna get it loaded, so just bear with me a second. What's really cool about this one is that it guides you through everything, through the build, through clients, their experience with us, and it's just kind of sit back at your own pace, right? Seems to be some technical difficulties. It doesn't want to full screen, but you get the idea. You can just click on YouTube here and it'll full screen for you. Okay, so with all that being said, I'd like to formally pass this over to Gordon Barron and Rick Inacio. Many years of combined experience. Gordon Barron is the President of Lifestyles by Barron's, and Rick Inacio is the VP of Sales and Marketing for Lifestyles by Barron's. As well, I'd also note that we do have a member of our design team on this webinar, Allison Donnelly. She's been with us for a multitude of years. She's our in-house design consultant. So yeah, I'd like to formally pass it over to Gord and Rick.
Just as we transitioned into Rick, who is our Vice President of Sales and Marketing here, the video that Chris just showed really would encourage folks. We've had a lot of independent feedback in regards to that video. We're one of the first companies in North America to embrace that technology. So what it has actually done is it's taken our design work and actually automated the design, which means you can literally walk through our design, which is very new in the industry. And as Chris said, it will actually show you the befores, and then you're actually streaming through the finished product. It's very unusual to have one tool that will address all of those elements, and you can also hear from the client. We've actually had people call into our office and comment about how worthwhile that was. So that's, as Chris says, that's a sit down and enjoy experience. So we'd encourage people to go to that. So we'll turn this over to our Vice President of Sales, Rick Inacio.
Hey everyone. So Chris, if you can put the next slide up.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you everyone once again for being here. It's great to share this time with you. And we're going to be talking, as Chris said, about feature walls and fireplace feature walls. So a feature wall is basically, some people call it an accent wall. is a wall whose design differs from the design of other walls in the room. So it makes it stand out. So just going to go through a few things about feature walls with you. Feature walls can be achieved by using paint or various other materials. I think when everybody thinks about a feature wall, they think about changing the color of a wall, and that's a feature wall. A feature wall can be achieved by using different materials and cabinets and things like that. So we're actually gonna, well, Gord's gonna walk you around and show you some of those. Now, make sure that whatever color, pattern, or material you choose complement the room. So having bold colors and patterns can look really beautiful in a room, but doing it just for the sake of making a statement doesn't always work. So be very careful about what you're actually choosing to put on that specific wall and make sure that it is going with the rest of the decor of that room. Be mindful that if you choose a bold color, especially, or like a bold pattern, it may date and run out of style quickly. So if you're not willing to update a wall, be sure that you go with something that's a little bit more neutral and more timeless. Keep it simple with the rest of the decor, and only place things like a large clock or something like in front of a feature wall. Make sure that, especially if you're doing a bold pattern or a bold color, that you're not putting too much in front of it, like too much furniture and things like that. Make sure that it is the feature wall. Don't use the feature wall in rooms that are overly crowded with furniture. Don't forget, feature walls are meant to be seen. It's a focal point in the room. So if you already have too much in that room, it may be overwhelming to anyone, including yourself, in the home. So be very careful where you're using these. Avoid walls with doors or windows, as these usually detract the effect that you're trying to achieve. So obviously a feature wall is something that stands out from the room. Feature walls can also be used to define spaces. So as an example, if you have an open space, an open plan space, a feature wall can help to separate two areas. As an example, a lot of people have their dining room and their living room combined in kind of long linear spaces. So having a feature wall can actually divide the dining room from the living room and accentuate that space. Now, if you're not sure what wall to make a feature wall, which some people are kind of looking around and saying, well, which one should be? Best bet is always to use the focal point of the room. So as an example, if you've got in your family room, if you've got a TV, that would be the feature wall. In your master bedroom, a feature wall, or a good place to put a feature wall, would be right behind the headboard of your bed. So choose those wisely, and always look for the focal point in the room instead of having multiple focal points. Try not to do a focal wall in a room and then go and repeat that wall in other parts of the home. It may be overdone, and it may take away from that kind of wow factor that you want for that specific room. So you can use different colors, you can use different styles, different wallpapers, but try not to repeat it throughout. And if you're not sure what the balance is, and if you want to get it right in a specific room, use the 60-30-10 rule for that specific room. So if you use light colors in 60% of the space, what it will do is brighten up the space. Use your 30% to contrast with a matching or a darker color, something that stands out. And then the remaining 10% is detailing other colors. So that should make the room fall into place, especially if you're trying to do that feature wall. Gord is going to go into the next space. And Chris, if you can put up the before picture.
Okay, folks, so as you can see there, we're proud of what was our great room. Now, please keep in mind time frames. At the time of doing this lunch and learn, we're in our 27th year of operation. That particular great room is over 20 years old. It was designed approximately 22 years old, or 22 years ago. So as you can see, it is a little dated, but over the years, design firms were learning in the industry. So one thing that we have really learned is really the importance of a single focal point. You'll see in that design there, the original great room that we had in the lifestyle home had two focal points. So we had the focal point of the fireplace, and we had the focal point of the TV, which, as you can see, made furniture placement very difficult. It was also what we call a closed configuration, which meant those were not just decorative columns Those were actually load issues at the end of the day here, which also visually closed in the space. But that gives you a sense of what that space looked like. We still had natural products on the fireplace. We've now, you'll see what we're going to reveal in a moment, we've changed significantly. We've gone to a single focal point. Other big learnings is furniture by its very nature is designed to trend in, trend out. So what we're learning over the years, less is more. So we typically put less furnishing elements now into our designs. And we do believe they will last the test of time. We've been doing less is more in our pantries and serveries for years, and kitchens we did 20 years ago are still relevant for that very reason. So as you're going to see the reveal here, it is a significant change, but the exact same space. So let's show you what that space looks like now.
Okay, I'm just going to transition here, so just bear with me a moment. Okay.
So as you can see.
Hello?
Yep, we can see your screen there, Rick.
Okay, hold on one second.
No problem.
There we go. All right.
So folks, as you can see, we've
Sorry to interrupt there, Rick. It's just kind of stuck in the landscape mode. If you just jiggle the phone back and forth, it should reset. Perfect. You're good to go. Thank you.
Sorry, not on here.
Okay. On our screen there, it's in landscape mode.
just flip the phone all the way around. We learned this last time. Complete circle. And flip back.
It's backwards here for whatever reason. It's okay.
Either way, it's showing clear on everyone's screen over here. So you're good to go.
Okay. So as you can see, we've now gone to a single focal point. In today's world, it's no longer just the television. It's more the home theater. So you can see the television has got quite large. We've also moved to a linear fireplace configuration, but as you can see, we don't have
I apologize to interrupt again, guys. It's the phone is being a little wonky here today, and now it's stuck in the other way. So maybe that's a good sign, and it'll be okay if you let's see. So right now it looks good for us.
360.
Okay, we're all good there.
Working?
Yeah,
On their
thing,
but it's okay. I don't know what I'm recording.
All right, folks. Sorry about this. Let's start again here. The joys of technology. Is it working, Chris?
Yes, from our perspective, it looks good.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let's explain this here. We've gone from, this is quite a reveal here. We've gone from two focal points. If you recall, on that wall used to be the television, and the fireplace used to be here. We've completely changed the orientation, and we've removed a tremendous amount of furnishing elements. So that concept, less is more. So for example, we're only temporarily staged. A lot of our elements haven't arrived yet, so this is temporary. But as you can see, these are all floating shelves, which really open the space and really create a wow factor. We don't want switches everywhere. So as you can see, we're simply controlling them by touching the mantelpiece, which is, you can see lights going off here, lights going on. I can dim them just by touching the mantle. And at night, this is an absolutely breathtaking application. Go to the other side, and as you can see, it turns the lights off, or I can dim them, or I can control them. Now, quite frankly, right now, we are in demo mode. So you'll even notice the ceiling and the lights behind the television, they keep changing colors. All we're trying to show you is the options are endless. And once again, at night, this can be spectacular. In fact, you can even link this into your TV. So as it's playing, the colors would adjust based on the movie you're watching. So technology is absolutely amazing on what it can do. But basic tips here from a design perspective. Get a single focal point, not multiple focal points. Seating is very important. You'll notice the seating has dramatically increased based on the removal of furnishing elements. Now, we are going to have hard elements on this wall that will really warm it. We do recommend a sofa table in behind, which is on order, and light fixture elements. So when this is done, this will be absolutely spectacular. We have a full-size carpet scheduled to come in and a whole planting program that will make this spectacular. Not totally done, but you get a sense of what we've actually accomplished here. I want to spend a few minutes on the fireplace. Now, it's extremely warm outside, so I'll be frank, we just turned this on, so you're not seeing it at its best. It doesn't have the flames to full capacity. But technology has come a very long way. The efficiency of these units is astounding. The newer technology, the flames are so incredibly realistic that you cannot tell that it's actually fake. We actually have a porcelain reflection panel. Once this gets burning and the flame gets deeper and darker, it's actually reflecting. It's absolutely stunning. But the key issue with this new technology is one of the problems we've had with fireplaces, and we've all experienced this in the past, is they're generating too much heat at source. So you can operate it for a very short period of time and then you're physically turning it off, or worse, you're opening windows. With the newer fireplaces and the technology, they can actually redeploy 50% of the heat. Now there's lots of technical requirements we'd have to work through, but they can redeploy the heat into the overall heating system of the home, or we can redeploy the heat to other levels, ideally down because heat rises. So this makes them incredibly efficient. And there's one other thing here. The price points for these type of technologies have come way down. So another useful tip to keep in mind here is our world is becoming a little less stable. So when I say the grid, that's what services us from the government, your electrical services. We've all experienced a time when the hydro is out, which means your furnaces and things aren't operating. The advantage of this, and it's not uncommon for us to put multiple fireplaces in a home, is it allows the home to continue to be heated during those critical periods of time, which is really becoming more and more of an issue. So in good design, don't just think of the wow element, think about the application, what other benefits, how else can this serve you? Other thing from a good design standpoint, you'll notice here that we've done a home theater configuration. So this beautiful large screen television application, it's designed to support multiple spaces. So I'm going to ask Rick to move back into our space. And once again, we're not complete, so we're not fully set up, but it does give you an idea. So if you look at our original design that we've done here, we've actually incorporated the dining area, so you can actually be watching the news or watching TV, whatever the case may be. But the design is also designed so you can be doing food preparation and still see the television. The concept of having 2 or 3 televisions doesn't make sense. That's actually on a hydraulic hinge, which means it can be moved in any direction we want it to be moved in. Heck, it could even be pointed to outdoor living. There's a whole other segment in outdoor living that we're starting to build on the lifestyle home as well. So good design, think about how you're going to use the space, think about how that room can serve multiple, and take a look at the ceiling here. So if you take a look at the ceiling, we've removed all of those structural elements as you can see here. It has dramatically opened the space. It is the same space, but it feels so much more open. And once again, when you're designing, you're trying to design in a fashion that this is a lifelong solution. So even the step ceiling here, you notice we've got different step ceilings. These are all part of feature elements and feature walls. It's all got to tie together.
Sorry, Chris, is it still showing properly?
Yep, everything looks good.
Okay, sorry, because on my phone, I'm basically sideways, so I'm trying to film it as well as possible.
Looks good, looks good.
Where we'd like to transition to next here, as you can see, this is quite a transformation from a standpoint of what the great room was. Exact same space, so let's recap. We've gone from 2 focal points to a single focal point. Another useful design tip, just catch the eye.
Sorry to interrupt there, guys, but this phone seems to be wonky today, and now it's moved into the other position. Okay, we seem to be. Let's see here.
How's that?
So right now it's in portrait mode. It's not in landscape, but it doesn't look bad. Okay, we're good there, Rick.
Another useful design tip here is natural products. Once again, when you cut something out of a mountain, you can't say it's an 80 look, 90 look, or a 2000 look. It's the same material that we've used in the kitchen as we've used in the great room. So good design elements will replicate. Seating has significantly increased. We've removed a lot of the bulkhead configurations. And by stepping the ceilings as we've done here, it doesn't have the fussiness of lots and lots of crown detail, but it certainly introduces a wow factor. It also gives you the illusion of a much higher ceiling than what in fact is here. You'll notice it's a way of defining space without closing in space. So spend more time at the design phase, less time at the construction phase. And as you can see, the floating shelf configuration certainly gives ample areas for display elements, which you can change as the seasons evolve. So at this point, Chris, I would appreciate if you could show the before of the laundry room, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so everyone should be able to see the before picture of the laundry room.
Okay, so as you can see in that laundry room here, it's a very typical laundry room configuration of what we had, nothing special. Now, the message that we're going to be showing you here momentarily is how we can increase 400% capacity of the exact same space. Now, some of the challenges there, as you'll see, is that the washing machines are under the window, which you see in every single builder home. And as a result of that, the window's very small. And with the washers there's so many design problems with that. Typically, you have the underwears or socks falling behind the machines, or you've got a lot of dust or dirt configuration collecting there. But here's the big loss. The amount of vertical space lost from a practical feature wall, now remember, this is a practical feature wall, is astounding. We estimate that we've actually increased that laundry room, what we had here originally, by 400% capacity, just with some creative design element. You'll notice that we've actually taken the machines, we've removed them from the original walls, we've created additional closets, but we've increased by approximately 400% storage. So let's show you how.
Okay, just bear with me a second. There we go.
So as you can see, a significant change. So let's explain what we've done here. We've done vertical height application. So we're trying to use the full capacity. Now there's so many advantages of this. From another tip perspective, front loading machines are much more energy efficient, and they're actually better for your clothes as far as wear and tear. They're also, from a usability standpoint, easier from a standpoint of functionally getting into versus reaching down into drums. So they make a heck of a lot of sense. But as you can see, all of this space was completely lost in the original design. From a structural standpoint, you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's not really.
It's gone back to portrait there. Maybe for the laundry room, yeah, just right there is perfect. Okay. Let's hope. Here's to hoping that it won't go back to the other way.
All righty. As you can see, you're probably thinking, well, that's not practical. How are we going to get up to that? We all have seasonal storage requirements. What we've done, and this is designed to go everywhere through the lifestyle home, is this ladder literally transitions and goes anywhere you want it to be. You simply hook it on. It's on rollers. It locks into place here, and it's going to allow you to get into those areas that are physically taller up. So not only is it a wow from a feature wall perspective, and that visually it's very appealing, but we all have off-staves and storage requirements. So we've made it a heck of a lot easier to function here. We have a built-in hamper here. We can sort your whites, we can sort your colors here easily and accessible. Tremendous amount of storage capabilities for long-term storage, bulbs, whatever the case may be, which we all have those needs to do. The other thing is design is not just about pretty, it's got to be practical. So we've heard over the years from clients here, and we've started to actually experience this ourselves. This becomes a drying rack. So all those delicate garments, be it the undergarments, socks, whatever the case may be, literally come out of the washing machine. And by design, we coded the steps here, and things naturally dry here. So let's flip over to this space here. Here's also the dryer. So if you take a look here, we've got the drying capacity here. This design makes a lot of sense. So commercial spray, it's really great from a standpoint of what it will do as far as cleaning. If you've got a small pets, you want to do things by hand. It's a heavy-duty sink, cast iron, many different options. You think it's too deep, then there's a simple solution here. If you wanted to use it as just a standard sink, then you literally would put this into it, and you're not actually digging down into the space if you just wanted to bleach something, whatever the case may be. So significant change here. So let's recap. Vertical space, which was completely lost. Window has actually got significantly larger than what it was previously. 400% more usable storage than what we had in this original design. More efficient technology as far as washing and drying. Easier to use. We've added 2 closets in this space. So if I switch spaces with you here, Rick, we've added this huge closet on the one side, which is an IT closet for security in that. We won't go into that on the purpose of this demonstration. Really proud of this. So we all have cleaning supplies. And those cleaning supplies are going to really vary from what's in the house to outdoor cleaning supplies to chemicals, things of this nature. Same concept. So the capacity of this is absolutely astounding. And once again, for those things that are way up, that ladder is all reinforced to just transition into this space. And the amount of cleaning supplies, right down to the vacuum attachments, easy, accessible, incredibly functional. And the light really helps. It's also a LED, so it's not using any energy. And it trips by simply opening the door or breaking a laser. So there's no moving parts, nothing to break. So as you can see, significant change. Let's recap on the tips.
Try not to use top mounted machines. They're not efficient and they waste a tremendous amount of space. Try to use front loading, try and go vertical. And even if it's an 8-foot ceiling, we can still go vertical in these spaces. It makes more sense. And we've done many applications. Look to our website for examples. Try and make it fun. This is a room you're in a lot. We've done some decorative elements. This is considered button details, but it just gives it a whimsical characteristic. If you have height, get a ladder. Make sure it's reinforced. Have places where you can sort things so you're not throwing everything over on the floor. This is absolutely astounding. This is holding more than the entire original laundry room. So if you have things that you use every single day, you can see super accessible, all right? Here's another little tip. If you want to literally, when you're washing your clothes, you don't want to be filling the machine each and every time, you can actually purchase machines here. This is where you fill it once, and literally this will run for many, many, many loads because it will automatically dispense the soap and the softener. So there's a lot of thought that goes into these designs and how to make them practical and how to make them a wow. So as you can see, if you look back to that before picture, Chris, of what this space was, and now look at it, it's a total transformation, and there's so many practical benefits to this space and so much functionality that just makes sense. Even by putting in a larger window made a huge difference in just orientating the space. So at this point, we're gonna flip to feature walls, purely decorative, which focuses on the staircase. So the good starting point is the before picture. So Chris, if I could trouble you in a moment just to put up the before picture of the staircase. Okay. If you could just let us know when that's up.
It's up now.
Okay, so we've seen those stairs many, many times. We had this staircase originally. It's a typical closed configuration. So what you see with a closed configuration is obviously walls. So there's a wall on either side of the staircase. Just so you understand from a structural standpoint, the reason why the walls on either side of the staircase is it's actually supporting the stairs, which means there is no structural strength in the staircase. The other thing that you'll notice there is on the actual wall that transitions up to the second level, there's no detail. So not overly attractive. And in our case, we had a small window on the staircase. If you look at most builder homes, you'll see a small window. What we've done here is we've removed the wall and we changed the orientation of the staircase. This is an engineered staircase, which means the strength is in the stairs, not being supported by walls, which dramatically opens up the space. But the feature wall element is extremely important. So if you take a look at the reveal, Chris, Rick, if I could ask you to do the reveal, you'll notice this is a radically different space. By removing the wall and by opening up the staircase, putting the large window, and then we've done the stepping detail on the walls, this is stunning. Now, we do have artwork that will be—
Sorry, Rick, give your phone a shake. Okay, we're good to go.
Okay. So what you can see here is the decorative details rising up the stairs. Don't do uniform panels. Everybody does uniform panels, but what it does is define the space and makes the space look small. So that's a really important tip. If you can take what you do on the walls creatively and carry it onto the ceiling, the impact can be stunning. So if you take a look at what we've done rising on the wall, we've then carried it right through to the ceiling. You'll notice that these panels are not uniform because we're trying to accentuate certain elements. But you'll notice the panels on the ceiling are not uniform. Virtually any home or builder home that you'll see will have uniform panels. There's very little design creativity that goes into that. But unfortunately, it tends to define the space and make the space look smaller than it actually is. So as you can see, the wow factor is these panels rise on the wall and they then carry across the ceiling. They mirror in concept what is on the walls to the ceilings, and you'll notice the center panels are much larger. And the reason for that is we're trying to give the illusion of a much bigger space than it actually is. Now, good design will replicate on feature walls in different forms and fashion. So as you come up the staircase here, you can see we've actually sized this. It's carried across the ceiling, but then we've carried it into the study music room area here. Don't look at the furnishings. The furnishings are just being temporarily stored here. We didn't bother to move them up for filming. It's not what we intend to have in here. But as you can see, what we've done is we've taken the elements of the staircase, we've reintroduced them into this stunning room here. And with the advent of a main feature element, the main feature element is the chandelier, and that's a significant chandelier. It's a permanent element. It's one that will be here permanently. But we've introduced uplighting here. And this is one area where you can reintroduce the crowns that we're very familiar with, but instead of running the crown to the ceiling, we've actually stopped it at the base of the palladium there, and then we've added uplights. I wish you folks could see this at night. It is absolutely beyond stunning as far as the visual impact that it has. To give you an idea of what this looks like when you start turning things off, that's what it looks like when it's turned off. And when you turn it on, even during the daylight, in a full bright day like this, it's stunning. Now, we still have some artwork elements that will warm this space. We're being impacted just like the rest of the world on shipping and things of this nature. So what we've purchased for the lifestyle home, unfortunately, through our direct suppliers, remember, we do supply artwork, furnishings, all those elements, unfortunately, are not in place. But you certainly can see the architectural elements that are very important. So at this point, we're going to transition to another feature wall, and you're going to see that in our gym. And once again, the gym is not totally set up. We're still waiting on elements, but the architectural elements are in fact complete. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a completely different feature wall, okay? And Mother Nature, still 27 years at the time of filming this, does a beautiful job. Now, we certainly do man-made products as well, but this is Mother Nature at its finest. What we've actually done is this is considered book match, which means when we're cutting the stone from the mountain, we're very mindful of getting what exactly attached to it, basically, for lack of better terms. So this is a timeless element. It's a natural stone element. It rises to the ceiling. Once again, we just turned these on, so the fireplaces, so they're certainly not at their best because of the heat outside. But
they're certainly hot. They're definitely hot.
Yeah, you'll see us. We're quite warm. But anyway, and we obviously don't have our blower packages redeploying heat to other levels because we don't want to spread the heat everywhere. So this is another useful tip that you may want to consider here. It looks like artwork. It's not. It can be anything you want it to be. It has a sensor, so as you walk into the room, it trips it on. So it's not wasting any energy. It could be personal pictures that you happen to love, or it could be other artwork that you can simply get online. But the beauty of this is it transitions to a television, okay? So when you want it to be the television, it will flip to the television. You can connect it to sound elements, and away it goes. So it does have a practical element as well when everything's said and done. As you can see, it does flip over to a television.
What might be happening?
And of course, the first thing we see is COVID. All right, so let's recap. The importance of the design elements here. Natural products, make sure it's seamless. This is literally book match, which means same materials running out. Fireplace, this particular room happens to be over the garage, so it makes tremendous sense because that's what we call an exposed building envelope. Rising the natural stone up the wall. We haven't sealed any or cleaned any of this material. This will look stunning. That's scheduled to happen next month when all of our stone is sealed and cleaned. It will look even better. So as you can see, beautiful. This would be more of a contemporary design from a standpoint of its very clean lines, very little detail, but fully custom fabricated. So truly stunning. So the next feature wall we're going to show you is another fireplace as well. And it's in the office. So let's take you to the office. Actually, Rick, if you can turn that one off.
Okay, it looks like they're just going to be transitioning here to the office. We'll just give them a moment.
So folks,
Okay, we're good to go when you guys are.
So folks, exceptionally proud of this design. We've custom designed this entire fireplace and this feature wall. We put a lot of design creativity into this. So what is beautiful about this is, once again, when you use natural products, they do tend to not trend in to the same extent. So if you take a look at this natural product here, it is beautiful, real material. It looks like a solid piece of stone. This is actually real material with a specialized backing on it. We'd be happy to give you more details about it.
But it actually, by carefully mitering it, it gives the illusion it's a solid piece of stone because you can see it perfectly turning the edges, what you would see in Mother Nature. This is actually a product that is being hand chiseled. It will be timeless. And this is a neat little feature here. We actually control the lights here just by sweeping the mantle, which is a nice element. And during the day, it still has an impact. This is some of our artwork that is actually being custom made for the actual mantle configuration. And this is taking a somewhat more of a traditional type fireplace. Two-sided is one of the most efficient ones that you can get in the industry because it's deploying heat to both places. This has even an added benefit that it's literally putting heat 2 stories down from the second story all the way to the basement. Obviously, we don't have that feature turned on. But as you can see, timeless, beautiful, natural materials. We have a whole furniture package scheduled for this area, but frankly, it's on back order at this stage. And we've reintroduced the natural products, as you can see in the heart. So by taking the same materials, carrying them soldier coursing is what it's called on the sides, and then a hand chiseled material here and a decorative element here, you've really created a timeless piece that will be an heirloom. It'll be here to stay sort of idea. So it's an absolutely stunning, stunning application. Now, we're going to show you this exact same fireplace, but with a completely different configuration just on the other side. Now, in most homes, we would likely do the same application, but we wanted to show different things. So here you've got the same fireplace. This is a bit more transitional versus contemporary in design. We're not finished, but you can get a sense of the space here. So let's walk through the bones of this. We've got this beautiful wainscoting, which is being designed to particularly go around the technology and the same guiding principles here. Make sure that you've got single focal points as we discussed down in the great room. So this obviously converts to a TV. It's designed to look like artwork currently. You simply touch the mantles and you can control the lighting. And this lighting you don't have to feel guilty about because it's very energy efficient as far as the technology. Here we've introduced some natural, beautiful materials. So this is natural stone material. It's in soldier course. We carried it directly into the hearth configuration. And then, as you can see, we have bolted the ceiling here to add to the wow. This was a complete flat ceiling previously, but we wanted to create more of a feature wall element. So what we've done in this application is we've bolted the ceiling here so we can create almost a sitting area. This chandelier will be shifting a little bit to the right. It's not entirely finished, but we wanted to be able to show it to you, which means placement of furnishing elements will fit a little bit better. But it does give you a sense of how the space is transitioning and how the space will be used. So as you can see, a real wow, this is using a little bit of creativity. You're getting double bang for your buck because you're getting 2 fireplaces, but in reality, you're paying for 1 from a standpoint of unit. So if the space will allow for it, it's something you definitely want to consider. All right. So at this point, let's recap. We've done the great room, fireplace. We've done the laundry room, which is more of a practical feature wall. We've looked at the gym feature wall, which is more of a contemporary design. We've taken a look at the office, which is a contemporary transitional design. And now we've taken a look at this transitional feature wall. Once again, design elements will replicate. So you notice that beautiful light fixture. That's one of our fixtures, which is tying into the wall sconces, which is tying into the table detail. When this is fully set up, it will be an absolutely stunning space versus just a flat ceiling. So if we go into the spa bathroom, for those of you who are on the Lunch and Learn, this shows you a completely different application. We did touch on some of these elements. So the spa bathroom is truly a stunning element. This was originally a closet, so don't get hung up with what spaces were. And this was the original bathroom. Here's another example of a very contemporary design. So you've got a linear application. Once again, it's going to throw the heat down 2 stories. We've done this stunning feature wall. Okay, and once again, I wish you could see it at night here. But literally, the controls are as simple as just touching the panels, and it's literally turning the lights on and off, or you can dim them up or control them. Once again, basic building blocks. As you can see, natural elements. This will not trend out 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, that will still be relevant because it is a natural product. It's not one of those elements that will trend in or trend out. But from a feature wall standpoint, absolutely stunning. Now think about it. You had a standard 8-foot ceiling here. That was it, all right? So we've gone from an 8-foot ceiling to almost a 20-foot ceiling. We've created a real wow here with a vault. This is considered a vault ceiling. And that didn't change the roof line at all. We just simply went up into the attic space. We created the planter to soften this, to give it more of a spa feeling. And it's all designed. That television, once again, multiple purposes. It can support the shower. It can support the jacuzzi tub area. It can even support the vanities because that is all hydraulic. It just spins out and moves around. I'm going to show you one of our final feature walls, which we're exceptionally proud of, which is in the shower. Now, please don't get hung up with it being in a shower. It could be anywhere. From a design perspective, we're trying to show different applications. Would encourage you to take a look at our website under the Hoover. You'll see we've done this particular product. We're very proud of this manufacturer. This is natural product. So this is actually an onyx product. It happens to be one of the oldest products that is on the planet, which means it's extremely durable. But what we also like about it is the fact that it's got heavy fossilization. I'm just putting some lights on here, so just bear with me here. Okay.
Actually, if you don't, the other one will turn on better. Just leave it.
All right, so as you can see, this material is absolutely stunning. We book matched this one as well, which means we try to cut it in such a fashion that it joins together. It's art in its own right. I mean, I marvel at this material. I can stand here for hours just marveling at, you know, what Mother Nature has created. It's heavily fossilized and an extremely durable product. Now we've mixed the two products. You'll see that there's man-made product here, and then there's natural. Obviously, that's man-made. This is natural. And to create a feature wall with some more interest, we've got a stepping ceiling detail, which really adds to the wow factor. But if you want to take the wow factor to one more level, this feature wall can come alive. So if you actually turn the feature wall on, we actually have an LED package behind here that actually illuminates through the stone. And the wow factor that this creates is, you have to see this in person to fully appreciate it. It can be any color under the rainbow that you particularly want. So with the advent of technology, it can literally rotate to any color that possibly is of interest, right back to standard white. So as you can see, feature walls can add a real wow and a real joy to the space and give you some real creativity. And it's one of those things you use sparingly. You don't have to do them everywhere. It's just where you want to create a wow from an experience standpoint. So at this point here, before we kind of wrap at this point, what I'm going to do is we're going to take you over to one of the jobs that we did previously, which was called the Pomona. And it's one of our favorite feature walls, okay? Sorry, Rick, you... Okay. So as far as feature walls, we did what is called the Pomona residence. I encourage you, if you want to get a better handle on that residence, and that was actually an award-winning residence, which we were pretty proud of. And to the credit of that homeowner, they were the ones that encouraged us to go to the Build Society. And we won a significant award on that home. But the great room, if you take a look at the great room, Chris, have you got the great room up there?
Okay, just give me 1 second. It's about to share with everybody.
Okay.
Okay, everyone should see the Pomona great room now.
So what you're going to see there in the great room here is we had a very typical space prior to that. We're really proud of the design creativity there, and that is an excellent example of a stunning feature wall. So if you take a look there, what we've actually done in that particular configuration is we put in a linear fireplace, so it's a long linear fireplace, and then these are custom elements that float literally above the fireplace and below the fireplace. That's a very significant fireplace. And when the client originally started down this path, they showed us a fireplace that was the feature wall we're estimating what they showed us was 5 to 6 feet. And from a creative standpoint, we're always trying to take it one step further. So we actually did that installation is approximately 13 to 14 feet. So it's a much larger installation. We have the space to play with, but it does become a main design element of the home. So it shows you from a creativity standpoint what can be done. So you'll notice that we've used in that feature wall some dark color elements to make the material above the fireplace and below the fireplace stand out. So you've got multiple focal points, but you're still staring all into the same direction. West of the City is a high-end design magazine, and quite frankly, they were on our tour program. They were so impressed with that, they used that particular picture to be the cover of their January magazine. So it shows you a little bit of creativity in the design is so critical before you actually move down a feature wall. So at this point, what I want to do here is I'm just going to recap here what we discussed, and then I'm going to quickly talk about building blocks of our company, and then we'll close with questions. So what we've done here from a feature wall perspective is we've literally gone room by room by room. We've shown you everything from decorative feature walls to functional feature walls and the differences between the two of them. Hopefully there's been value in this. We've had great feedback in regards to these lunch and learns. Just a little overview of the company so people understand this. Please do not be intimidated with what you see here. We service clients that have much smaller needs, much smaller applications. One thing we're very excited about is our next lunch and learn is a very cost-effective solution where clients who don't want all these changes, they don't want all the structural changes, and that lunch and learn we're very excited about. That's a very different offering, and that's taking place next Wednesday, so we'd encourage you to take a look at it. Our decor center, we affectionately call the lifestyle home, we're very proud of. The world has changed, we all know that. In the past, our tour of homes was overwhelmed with people. In fact, some of our folks said they had trouble reaching lifestyle people because we'd have anywhere from 40 to 60 people on the tours. Out of respect for our clients and respect for our employees, we're changing that significantly. We are literally only going to be allowing a couple at a time, and we will completely disinfect the decor center in between. These lunch and learns just give you a teaser of some of the elements within our center. Would encourage you to schedule, and I apologize up front, we can't get everybody in here, i.e. simply because we've gone from 60 people at a time down to 2. So we will do our best. Really what I strongly suggest is register sooner, and we'll do our very best to get people in. As far as the building blocks in the company, there's 4 basic building blocks. One is the console. Now, we just started doing consoles. The government is encouraging us to do that. We will maintain 6 feet. We will disinfect prior to going into your home, and we ask that you do the same. That's the console purpose. We do have full CAD, and you can go on our web that will give you more information, but CAD is where we do the digitizing, and we actually show you virtually what the home could change to. Regardless if you would like to work with us or another firm, spend more time at the design stage because it is absolutely critical. The build side. The build side, we have our own people that manage these jobs. We're not a track builder. We're not doing thousands of homes at a time. We max out at 3 to 5 projects at any given time. So we're hands-on. We do the build. We are an award-winning company. And from an award standpoint, we'll go into more detail on that, but our pricing is incredibly attractive. We wouldn't have won all these awards that we received if our pricing and quality wasn't excellent. So that's the build side. And then the final side is our design side. Now, some clients, if we go back over the last 27 years, if you build me this beautiful, wonderful home, or we've renovated a portion of the home, maybe it's just a kitchen or a main floor or whatever the case may be. And then there was a little bit of anticlimactic when the client then went and brought all their old furnishings and artwork and things back into the home. So we were getting a lot of pressure from a standpoint, could you give us some help on some of the design and furnishing elements? So it's the last 3 to 4 years we've really stepped up on that. We have over 20 suppliers, and our cost structures are significantly less than retail cost structures. That's back to that direct manufacturer relationship. Since we intimately know your home and intimately know what you were trying to achieve, it's been a natural evolution for us to introduce the art and the finishings and the furnishing elements. And we're trying to show more and more of that in the lifestyle home. So those are the 4 basic building blocks. At this point, I'm going to actually turn the floor over to questions. So, Chris, do we have questions by any of the folks on the Lunch and Learn today?
Yeah, you know what? As far as questions goes, I see Rick. I just actually unmuted Rick there because Rick Giuliani wanted to.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Rick.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, I just feel that, you know, this is my 4th Lunch and Learn, and Justine and I have had a fabulous relationship with Lifestyles, and I just feel that I'd like to make a testimonial. Justine and I began our relationship journey with lifestyles 10 to 12 years ago, starting with our first tour of homes, which we thought was 6 years before we signed our build contract, but Gord tells me his record shows it was 8 years. The point I'm making is that we did our due diligence over a very, very extended period. After getting answers to hundreds of our questions and taking the independent and freestanding steps of consultation and CAD, the consumer assisted drawings that Gord referred to, we finally signed our build contract on or about December 1st, 2015. About a year later, we moved into a beautiful, award-winning Pomona residence, a designer-built home approximately 3.5 years ago. Of note, our new home, as Gordon mentioned, was featured with the Build Association. Now, the Build Association is an association of 1,450 builders in Ontario. And in that year, Lifestyles was awarded the category, the winner in the category of one of the top 3 builders in Ontario. In addition to that, again, West of the City magazine, the prestigious magazine, West of the City, featured our Pomona residence, not only on the cover, but a 10-page spread in that particular magazine in January 2018. Their Lifestyle's next project was Hoover. And that particular accomplishment brought Lifestyle an unprecedented and record 5 awards in 7 possible categories. Since then, their website has mushroomed to 26 5-star reviews, including ours, which we would suggest you review. I feel obligated to suggest to our viewers that if you're seriously considering a renovation, big or small, that you seriously, we strongly recommend you not proceed before talking to Lifestyles. We assure you that you will find Lifestyles not only provide tremendous value, but they are very, very competitively priced. In closing, you know, I'd like to leave you with something to think about. How many situations do you know where a builder and a client go through a process and 12 years later, they remain on very, very close personal terms? So I just felt obligated to share this message with you.
Rick, Justine, I want to.
They're higher. They're higher.
Rick, Justine, I want to personally thank you for that. Cannot say enough about that. At the end of the day, there's nothing more real than a real client that has gone through the experience. One thing that frustrates us in the industry, and we see this over and over and over again, is these adversarial relationships that you see between the builder, the design company, and the client. And there's just too many examples of that. That's not Lifestyles. From the start to the finish, that's not what we built. And in regards to Rick and Justine, we have many examples of that. So we really thank you for that, Rick. There's nothing more real than somebody passionately talking from their own experience and what they've experienced. So thank you very much for that. Is there any other questions in regards to anybody on the bridge as far as what they've just seen? And once again, once we do the questions, I would encourage, I'll come back to the tour of homes. But are there any other questions, Chris, from what you see on the online?
No, thank you very much, Rick there and Justine, for such a great testimonial. At this time, no more questions.
Okay, so final comments here. Would encourage, we're very proud of the Lifestyle Home. It's been a great facility to be able to show people design excellence, give people ideas. We are booking consults right now. We have one scheduled tomorrow as well, so we are starting back to work. Things will be a lot slower for us to respond based on the tour program. We can't run like we've done in the past. It means a couple at a time versus 40 to 60 people. So urge people to book way in advance, and you can book by simply going on the website, and the website just simply putting down your information, and then our customer care center will be in contact. So Folks, we thank everybody for your time. Rick and Justine, thank you again for chiming in there. That was greatly appreciated. Nothing more revealing than a real client. So thank you very much. All right, folks, have a great balance of the day, and I thank you everybody for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you.